isang pananawagan sa may kapal mula sa bayang nasasakdal. Panginoon, sa panahon ng kadiliman at pandemya, alagaan mo ang iyong bayan, gabayan mo ang iyong bayan. Panginoon, kaawaan mo kami. Kristo, kaawaan mo kami. Ang daing ng iyong bayan ay iyong pakinggan. Panginoon, ang iyong mga anak ay ligtas mo sa kadiliman. Ang Kyrie ay isang pagsusumamo na naglalaman ng lahat ng ating mga daing at pangamba para sa ating bayan.
Speak out. Let your voices be heard. Let the Lord know how much we all love and believe in this country, this gift, this nation, and all its people. Let your love for the Philippines and for our people be heard amidst the plague of terror and deception, amidst the pestilence of violence and injustice, amidst the disease of greed and corruption. The Lord will hear our voices, once silent and meek, now growing, not in hatred, but in love for this country. He will shine His light upon us.
Bayan ko, kailan ka mamulat? Ang totoo'y nakikita na, umibigit ka ba?
Kailan pa? Kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibubuga.
Bayan ko, kailan ka matututo? Sadyang ikaw ang kalaban mo, ikaw rin ang susunod.
Kailan? Kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibubuga. Bayan ko, kailan ka tatayo? Kay dami ng dugong inalay sa'yo.
O bayan ko, ang oras ay malapit nang maubos. Bangon na, umangon bayan ko.
Ngunit kailan, kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibuga. Bayan ko, kailan ka tatayo? Kay dami ng dugong inalay sa'yo.
Bayan ko, ang oras ay malapit nang maubos. Bago na, umangon bayan ko. Kung magkasama-sama ang tinig na sabay-sabay susulong ka. Sunod na. Bayan ko, kailan ka tatayo? Kay dami ng dugong inalay sa'yo. O bayan ko, ang oras minsan ang siyang minamahal. Ang isang siyang ako'y tagumpay na nasinigin. Ang bituin at araw sa kailan ang may di magsinigin. Ang araw-araw natin magsimba, buhay ay langit sa limaw. Nagbibigay ang laman ay makamit, ang mamatay ng langit sa limaw.
Hello Philippines, my name is Sushmita,
I'm Sam,
broadcasting live from Global TV Bollywood Studio, India.
live from Global TV London studio. You are watching Global TV Philippines
I'm so excited to join you. Catch me soon on the Rapporteur News with
Isabel
Isabel Fernandez and Chino Hansel
Hansel
Filiang.
Filiang.
Together, let's unite the universe with substance by bringing news you can trust. Until then.
See you.
Sige na, humayo ka. Oras na paibigin siya. Bigyang pansin ang mundo natin. Kalikasan ay maling. Pakinggan, kunin ang ibon. May ngiti sa gabit hapon. Sa tulong ng Panginoon, halina tayo'y tumugon.
Yan guys, magandang hapon and welcome to the episode 2 of season 2 of Ako at ang Kalikasan TV or AKTV Presents. At ngayong hapon, we will talk about another winner of this NASA Space Apps Challenge, which is Project AEDES. At bago po yun, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to send out my shout out sa isa nating kasamahan na currently facing the dangers of COVID-19. Tatagan mo yung loob mo, kayang-kaya mo yan, and I hope you get over this challenge. Napag-alaman ko din mga kaibigan, ngayon lang, kaya yung mga post ko sa Facebook, I was really mad because I found out that ito kasi kaibigan ko na to, yung kanyang pinsan, contracted COVID-19 and talaga namang medyo hirap nang huminga. Then they went to the hospital at ayaw siyang i-admit kasi wala pa daw swab test. And then I called the 15555 and they told me ganun talaga daw yung proseso. So eventually, you will just be given an oxygen and iintayin yung swab results mo before you will be admitted to the hospital. So kung mamatay ka while you were waiting for the swab test, then, lucky you, di ba? And I also found out that when I called to 1555, they said it was not the intention or the protocol of the IATF na ang policy ng public hospital na ito is that if a COVID patient is admitted, dapat meron po siyang kasamang isa sa loob at hindi yun pwedeng lumabas hanggat hindi cleared yung COVID patient na yon. So that is very questionable kasi since positive nga yung kasama niya, so eventually this other person or companion will also get COVID-19. Ang reason po ng DOH, tumawag ako sa DOH, sa hotline nila, ang reason, understaffed daw po ang DOH. So I never really get the idea because I thought they were hiring medical workers and they have a budget after all, di ba? Billions of funds had been lost. So good luck. I hope na maging mabuti yung kalagayan ng kaibigan ko because eventually I know that he will battle the same thing as his cousin. So yun, nakakaawa lang na required pa lang may kasama while in the news, ang sabi, kawawa daw, solo lang yung mga pasyente. So eventually, mga may pera lang pala yung may kayang magsolo at mag-afford ng ganong convenience. Pero for those who are, who are trying to rely on the public health system, so survival of the fittest is really happening in the Philippines. So yan. And with that, I would like to dedicate this song from Rapi Dianyo called Bayani ng Mundo because I know a lot of healthcare workers is on the front lines and they are coping up with this bad system of the Philippine public health which had not improved since time immemorial. So here's the song by Rapi Dianyo called Bayani ng Mundo. Saludo po sa inyong lahat, mga healthcare workers at sa mga patuloy na lumalaban sa COVID-19 at sa mga nakasurvive sa pandemyang ito na dinala sa atin ng, alam niyo naman kung sino nagdala nito, di ba? Okay, here's Rapi Dianyo, Bayani ng Mundo.
Hanggang sa lahat ay kaibigan, paano ba ito matatanggap? Sa akin ba ay may darating pang bukas? Takot ay laging dala sa isipan ng bawat isa. May tanong sa puso kung mayroong pang pag-asa. Ngunit may tulad niyo na puso ay totoo, handang ibuwis ang buhay para sa kapwa-tao. Ang tungkulin ay gagampanan ng walang pag-aalinlangan. Gagawin ang nararapat dahil sa sinumpaan. Ang pagmamahal na alin niyo ay bukal, wagas at totoo. Ang papuri aming alay sa mga katulad niyo. Pasasalamat ang handog namin sa bayani ng mundo. Di natin alam kung hanggang kailan ang pagsubok na magdadaan. Ngunit tayo ay hihinto sa laban. Sama-sama sa hanggang wakas, dadating na kay gandang bukas. Nakasama ang bawat sagot at lunas. Ngunit may tulad niyo na puso ay totoo, may buwis ang buhay para sa kapwa-tao. Ang tungkulin ay gagampanan ng walang pag-aalinlangan. Gagawin ang nararapat dahil sa sinuman. Ang pagmamahal na alay nyo ay bukal, wagas at totoo. Ang papuri aming alay sa mga katulad niyo. Pasasalamat ang handog namin sa bayani ng mundo. Handog namin sa bayani ng mundo. Ang tungkulin ay gagampanan ng walang pag-aalinlangan. Gagawin ang nararapat dahil sa sinuman. Ang pagmamahal na alay nyo ay bukal, wagas at totoo. Ang papuri aming alay sa mga katulad niyo. Pasasalamat ang handog namin sa bayani ng mundo. Sa bayani ng mundo. Sa bayani ng mundo.
Thank you, Rapi Diana, and of course, please subscribe to her YouTube channel. So that video is, of course, aired with permission from Rapi Diana. Okay, now ngayon mga kaibigan, we've come to our topic for today, which is again another winner of the NASA Space Apps Challenge. So ano ba itong NASA International Space Apps Challenge? Before I introduce the man behind the Space Apps Challenge in the Philippines, let me introduce to you first through this video a short introduction of the NASA Space Apps Challenge.
Hey, I'm Thomas Serpuk, an Associate Administrator for Science here at NASA, and I'm so happy to welcome you to Space Apps. Space Apps is a community of scientists, engineers, artists, and hackers coming together to address key issues here on Earth. At the heart of Space Apps are data that come to us from spacecraft that are flying around Earth and are looking at our world, and we ask you to take those data to learn new things that help us. To learn more, go to spaceappschallenge.org or join the conversation at #SpaceApps.
Wow, Space Apps, lupet, NASA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you one of the men behind NASA Space Apps Philippines. He is the lead organizer for the NASA's International Space Apps Challenge in the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Lance M. Domagas. Hello, Sir Michael. Welcome again to AKTV. Ayun, welcome.
Ayun, nagpapasalamat naman ako muli, David, para sa pag-imbita sa atin, no? Upang ibahagi natin sa ating mga kababayan, no? Kung ano nga ba itong space apps na to, at meron tayo, yun nga yung magandang balita to, David, no? Sa pag-organize natin ng space apps sa Pilipinas, nananalo tayo.
Lupit, ano? Malupit talaga, matatalino talaga ang mga Pinoy. Yan ang bilib na bilib ako talaga sa mga Pinoy. Even doon sa ano, kung hindi alam ng iba, di ba, yung video call o video phone, Pinoy ang nag-invento na, ng pagkakatanda ko di ba? Kaya lang, napunta yata sa ibang bansa. So Sir Michael, ano ba tong NASA Space Apps Challenge na ito?
Bali, ito isang international annual hackathon na ginagawa ng NASA all over the world. Ito yung isa sa mga pinakamalalaking global hackathon. At saka, ang purpose ng Space Apps is to inspire collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Gusto rin natin magkaroon ng interest sa Earth in space science and exploration, at saka sa raise awareness of NASA data around the world. At saka gusto natin i-cultivate yung growth and diversity ng mga next generations of scientists, technologists, designers, engineers, at iba pa. No? Ito ay isang international hackathon kung saan ini-invite natin ng mga coders, scientists, designers, storytellers, makers, builders, technologists, at lahat sa buong mundo kasama na ang bansang Pilipinas, kung saan ini-engage natin ang free and open data ng NASA upang i-address ang mga real-world problems na nararanasan natin on Earth and space. Ayun.
So technically, ganun pala, no? Akala ko kasi NASA dati, puro lang yung mga pagpunta sa buwan, space shuttle, satellite. So meron din palang space app. So anong kaiba nung space app sa regular apps?
Well, actually, yung alam natin, no, na napupunta natin yung mga ibang mga celestial bodies, no, sa labas ng Earth, no. Yan ang tawag dyan, space exploration, no? Pero ito naman, ginagamit naman natin kasi may mga nakokolekta tayong mga data from outer space tungkol sa ating daigdig, no? Tungkol sa ating environment na makakatulong para malaman natin kung ano ba nagaganap dito sa sarili nating tahanan, no? Maraming mga data na kinukuhang ang mga satellite na umo-orbit sa Earth, no? Kaya nga interesting tong space apps to na ginagamit natin tong mga data ng NASA at yung mga partner agencies kagaya ng European Space Agency, Japan Aerospace and Exploration Agency, Canadian Space Agency, tsaka Kines ng France. Oo nga eh. Yun na nga, yun yung special ngayong taon, tsaka nung COVID-19 challenge na nag-partner yung NASA sa 4 pang mga space agency.
So yan, eto. Interesting itong pag-uusapan natin. Project AEDES. Sana i-correct niya ako mamaya kung paano basa dito. 2019 Global Winner for the Best Use of Data. So anong ginagawa nito? It aims to improve public health response against dengue in the Philippines. Wow! By predicting dengue cases from climate and digital data and pinpointing possible hotspots. Uy, very interesting. Kasi kumbaga, para ipipredict mo saan pwedeng magkaroon ng tawag dito, ng dengue outbreak. Let us show the introduction video for Project AEDES. Ito. Para malaman natin ano ba tong space apps na ito. Grabe, nakabilis na internet ko. Gumaganon pa rin ang internet.
August, September, when the announcement to sign up for the hackathon came out, and dengue was at an all-time high at that time, about almost double the prior.
Stitch all of these elements to create a public interface so that we want to bridge technology and users.
Grabe, no? 29,000 participants. Tama ba yung nakita ko? From around the world, from 71 countries. Wow, lupit, lupit. Now, we are very lucky today, Michael, no? Kasi one of the lead of Project AEDES will be with us. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the founder, principal consultant, and CTO of CirroLytix Research Services, founding board member, AAP Data Analyst, software developer, entrepreneur, and technologist. He is also the founding board member of the Analytics Association of the Philippines, or AAP. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dominic Vincent, Doc Ligot. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay, maayong hapon. Magandang hapon sa lahat. Thank you, David and Mike, for having me.
Oh, I was shocked na 29,000. Ang dami from 71 countries. That's how many people competed and you emerged the winner.
Yeah, actually, hanggang ngayon. Actually, today is the 1-year anniversary nung hackathon, no? Nung first
Today?
time na. Wow. Today, October 21, no? 2019 yung October 20 naganap yung hackathon, October 21 yung award, no? So, yeah, 1 year ago. Super dami na nangyari since then, no?
How does it feel na sa Philippines? Di ba you started in the Philippines, the competition started in the Philippines, right, Sir Michael? How many competed in the Philippines?
Actually, mula nung dinala natin to since 2016, marami talagang naging interesado para sumali dito sa competition ng space apps. In fact, last year, kung saan yan nga sumali si Doc Ligot sa ating international hackathon, honestly, we had 114 team registrations.
Wow.
Ganun ka. Oo. Team registrations po yun. Hindi individuals yun. Team registrations. So, kaya nga, yung interest, no? Kumbaga, talagang marami talaga na gustong sumali dito sa hackathon. And I'm really proud na yung nanalo sa atin dito sa Pilipinas, yun din yung pinili ng NASA para maging winner sa buong mundo.
How many do you select per year? Halimbawa, in the Philippines 2019, how many compete for the Space Apps Challenge?
Well, actually, tigda-dalawang locations yan, no? So meron tayo dito sa Manila last year, in Davao. So may mga 2 winners. So overall, magko-compete din yung mga winners na yan sa global level. So mangyayari dyan is they will be selected by experts from NASA to become global finalists.
I think yung kasabayan namin last year was sa Manila, at least Oceans 4. From De La Salle University. No, yung project naman nila is how to clean up ocean garbage, which which I think importante rin ngayon, no? Lalo nang nakikita natin yung basura.
I think perhaps Sir Michael can connect with us with them as well so that we can feature their app.
Yeah, dapat gumawa sila ng automated solution para basically yung drone kukunin niya lahat ng basura, di ba?
Wow, galing nun, ha?
Oo.
Kasi siguro nagtataka iba, why do you like Project AEDES? It talks about dengue. Why does Aksyon Kalikasan bring it out to AKTV? Kasi if we don't know yet, isa sa factor po kasi ng climate crisis, ang pagtaas talaga ng health crisis din, lalo na ng dengue, no? So we are talking about this because we are, instead of stopping climate change, we are trying to find ways to actually do climate adaptation. Kaya nag-i-invite tayo ng mga ganitong solution para we can adapt to the challenges of time. So Doc, ano ba tong Project AEDES? I understand that you prepared for us a presentation about the project.
Sige, let me maybe share my my story para makita rin ng mga tao ano yung nangyari a year ago. And actually may mga developments din as of today na maganda rin i-share, no? So
para we can encourage more people to really join these challenges and do something about use data for the better of the society.
Actually, ikwento ko lang din, after we got awarded, nag-webinar din kami ni Mike, no, right before yung huling NASA Space Apps, and we were happy to see na we had 3 global finalists naman, no, in the COVID challenge, no. And I think na-meet nyo na si Nick Tobia. They're also from the same group as us. Nanalo naman sila nung Gideon, no. So I think the more we talk about it, the more people will get encouraged, and definitely, I think napapatunayan natin. 3 years in a row na, or 3 wins in a row na ang Philippines.
Wow,
so hopefully,
brilliant
yung huling challenge, may manalo din, no, from the Philippines. Na kaya natin mag-compete. I think that's the important thing. Sige, kwento ko lang tong AEDES. No? So AEDES is short for Advanced Early Dengue Prediction and Exploration. Pero yan din yung pangalan ng mosquito, yung Aedes aegypti, na nagsaspread ng dengue. I think the Aedes aegypti also spreads other diseases like I think Zika virus, saka yung chikungunya. Not as popular as dengue. And then may mga ibang lamok din, like yung malaria, parang Anopheles mosquito naman. Pero tong Aedes aegypti, may ilang sakit na associated sa kanya. So naisip namin, when we were signing up for the challenge, parang magandang catchy name yung AEDES. No? So we called it Project AEDES para people will remember it. So itong AEDES, as I mentioned, today is our 1-year anniversary when we were awarded in the local level sa De La Salle. At that time, yung hackathon was still face-to-face, no? Pero ngayon, because of COVID-19, yung huling nasa hackathon, virtual. So ano yung naging challenge? I think for those who are not familiar with the NASA Space Apps Challenge, I think marami namang mga hackathon na nagaganap. Pero what I found interesting about yung NASA challenge was yung mga challenges na nilalagay niya are like socially relevant challenge, no? So ito yung Team AEDES, there were 4 of us. Mamaya ikwento ko rin kung ano yung mga challenges, and this was the scene, no, on the ground. Kung naalala mo to, Mike, during the day of the hackathon. 48 hours. So we came into De La Salle Friday afternoon, and then hanggang Sunday, doon na kami natulog, no, dire-diretso. So it's an interesting experience. So the members are Claire Taiko, siya yung statistician. We had Jansen Lopez. He was our expert on mga mapping, no, geospatial. And si Mark Toledo, who's our software engineer. So I think ang point namin dito, if people want to join hackathons, make sure na medyo halo-halo yung expertise nyo, hindi kayo pare-pareho ng profile. Talagang malaking bagay yon because you really need a mix of participation from various skills, no? And maganda rin marami kayo. I would recommend nga at least 4 to 5 people para you can divide the labor accordingly. And then I believe noong time na yun, si Claire was actually she was pregnant at that time. Malapit na mga anak. So imagine nyo, meron kaming statistician na pregnant at that time. Pero wala, banat pa rin, no? I think it was a really good showing on her part na 48 hours, no, in a hackathon. So I was mentioning earlier, sa NASA, they have 2 things that make it distinct from other hackathons. Number 1, they provide free access to yung satellite data nila. And I think malaking bagay yon for a lot of students, startups, people looking to get into solutions. In a normal hackathon kasi, sometimes walang data available. Basically, you have to mock up data or kind of come up with parang imaginary solutions, and hopefully the judges like it. Pero sa NASA, in a way, padadaliin nila yung buhay mo because ibibigay na nila sa'yo lahat ng data na kailangan mo. But actually, the challenge is, kaya bang intindihan, i-process, and also convert into solutions that can help humanity. So yung data, importante. And then second, this was the challenge that we tackled. Marami kasi mga challenges yan, at least mga 10 to 15 categories. This was one category that we found interesting, yung SDG. SDG stands for Sustainable Development Goals. Mamaya papakita ko lahat. These are 17 goals na agreed by the members of the United Nations na by 2030 dapat masolve natin lahat ng challenges na to. And SDG number 3 was about health. So inisip namin, okay, maybe we can tackle the health SDG. And tama-tama, a year ago, wala pang COVID-19, no? The big issue back then was dengue. We had a dengue epidemic. I don't know kung naalala pa ng mga tao noong time na yun, no? We had almost 300, as of August 2019, almost 300,000 cases and 1,000 deaths. Very similar numbers, no, to COVID-19 today, no? So, but at that time, parang normal lang yung dengue for everyone, which is something we found a little sad na may 1,000 na yung namamatay ng dengue and parang people didn't really mind, no? So we thought, baka if we're gonna solve the health SDG, let's tackle a problem talaga na talagang pressing at that time. And sad to say, even up to now, may mga dengue pa rin. Hindi lang masyado napapansin because everyone is focused on COVID. But actually, the symptoms of dengue and COVID are very similar. So minsan, yung mga nagpapacheck because they feel they have COVID, actually dengue pala yung sakit. So it's interesting that's happening now, no? So we said, sige, let's tackle dengue. But what about dengue? And I remember at that time, October, yung hackathon, yung latest data set ng DOH was August, no? And we felt, parang 3 months delayed yung data. And from what we understand, talagang mahirap i-gather yung data on health. And we felt na, wow, kung 1,000 na yung namamatay sa dengue and 3 months delayed yung data, if we can shorten yung data na yung gap ng data na yan, maybe we might be able to come up with something useful. Kasi just a 1-day difference, malaking bagay, no? And then later we calculated like what does a 1-day difference make in making dengue data faster. So part of the thing we did when we started the hackathon was, upo nga tayo, no? Pag-isipan natin, paano ba yung data issue dito sa dengue? And this is what we came up with. So, isip namin, kung titingnan natin ang dengue from a data perspective, parang may 5 bagay na nangyayari. First, alam natin na it's the mosquitoes that spread dengue. And mosquitoes breed in, stagnant water, usually dala yan ng ulan. So, we felt na kung maintindihan natin yung climate, then possibly maintindihan din natin yung spread of the mosquitoes. Then the mosquitoes will get infected. Yung pala, importante pa lang to remember, dengue does not come from the mosquitoes. Actually, it comes from humans. Pero yung pag-spread niya, mosquitoes ang nagdadala. So, kunyari merong isang may dengue, pag kinagat siya ng Aedes aegypti, dadalhin ng Aedes aegypti yan to another person pag kinagat niya ibang tao. So, you need 2 things na for a dengue epidemic to start. You need someone sick with dengue initially, and then itong mga mosquitoes na marami. We also thought na inspired din to by another story we saw in Google where tiningnan nila yung trends for flu, no? Na sumasabay yung instances of flu with people searching for flu. Free naman yung data from Google. So, isip namin, tingnan kaya natin yung data on dengue or dengue searches or dengue medicine, dengue symptoms, fever, flu. Meron bang relationship kaya yun dun sa cases of dengue? And then finally, of course, the moment deaths get start getting logged, dyan palang lalabas yung data sa DOH. So, imagine mo, napakalayo from the moment the climate change to the moment lumabas yan sa DOH dataset. Kung maunahan natin dun pa lang sa climate level, then we might be able to do something about it. So yun lang yung parang imaginary thought namin. No? We didn't know how we were going to do it. And then we went into the NASA Space Challenge with some ideas. If we can combine all these datasets, baka pwede natin gawa ng paraan. So yan yung concept na, okay, ano dito sa mga datasets na to pwede natin makuha? Definitely, we can get climate data. You can get it from Pag-asa, you can get it from NASA, yung Google searches, kaya kunin sa Google. And then, of course, yung existing reports ng DOH, baka we can detect a pattern. So, yun yung starting point namin. So, inisip namin, since delayed yung dengue data, if we can relate yung instances of dengue and the deaths to climate and Google searches, yung climate and Google searches, available yan real time. So, kung makahanap tayo ng pattern to connect them, then in theory, pwede nating i-nowcast yung real-time dengue. Malalaman natin by now kung magsa-spike pa lang. So yun yung concept. So that's how we started with our solution. We thought, baka tatlong functions. First, if we look at the Google searches, malalaman natin saan ba nagsa-spike ang dengue searches or panic, no? Second, we can look at predictive modeling, no? And detect kung ano yung mga contributing factors to dengue using climate, Google searches, location. And finally, actually based din to sa research na nakita namin from another group, which I will I'll thank them later. We can use satellite information to detect kung saan yung likely areas where there is stagnant water. So yun yung concept na namin we were trying to explore. So ito yung result, no? At least during the hackathon, ito yung mga data sets that we were looking at. This is a visualization of yung mga dengue searches from 2017 to the present, no? And you can see medyo palala siya ng palala in terms of as more and more people go online and start searching, dumadami rin yung mga searches. And I don't know if you can see it from the screen, pero napansin namin parang may regularity dun sa pag-spike ng dengue. If you look closely, usually around August and December, and then nung time na yun, August and July, coming into August tayo, nagkakaroon ng mga spikes, no, in dengue. So at least sa timing, from a Google search perspective, madedetect mo. But yung location nag-iiba, like in 2017 sa may Mimaropa area, nag-spike. Tapos nung 2018 sa may Ilocos and Cagayan Valley naman, no? And then nung 2019, at the time we were joining the hackathon, Visayas, no? Visayas, Eastern and Western Visayas, ARMM, Zamboanga, so more of sa south na nangyayari, which is also interesting. So we thought, okay, I think this is a good starting point. Tingnan natin ngayon. Syempre, we only had a 48-hour window. We won't be able to analyze everything. So sinimula namin dun sa mga areas na talagang super taas, no? So we saw Western Visayas. Let's have a look at that. Iloilo area, sa Eastern Visayas, sa may Tacloban, and then ARMM, no, sa Cotabato City, no? At least we start there. Yun yung magiging parang namin, testing area to check kung meron nga mga cases. Then we combined yung data we got from Pag-asa, no, yung climate data. So we were able to get rainfall and temperature from them. And then kinumbine din namin sa Google searches. And then this is where Claire came in, no? She ran a few models. Nakita na, although it's not exact, medyo dikit yung trend eh. We were getting almost 80 to 85% correlation, no, on the cases of dengue and yung mga indicators na ginagather namin. So isip namin, so mukhang may pag-asa to, no? We can really use this data to give an advance warning of the pandemic, no? And then finally, yung research that we used to detect using satellite data naman, kasi importante for the NASA space apps, gamitin mo talaga yung data ng NASA. So we were part of this group called the Mosquito Real-Time Census Project. Mamaya I'll also show you the site on Facebook. Grupo ni na Wilson Chuwayan, nandiyan din si Char Umang, si Dr. Carvajal. And we got literature from them showing na if you overlay several satellite indicators, no, like yung mga vegetation index, mga water index, certain thresholds, mahahanap mo from a map based on sa satellite indicators kung saan likely may stagnant water. So isip namin, parang ganyan, no? I think this is a satellite image of Cotabato City. And then yung mga areas na nandyan these are the likely areas na may stagnant water. Where ergo, likely areas na may mosquitoes. So isip namin, baka pwede na to for a prototype. We can put them all together into one application. And number one, it will tell you saan ba nagpapanik yung mga tao sa dengue. Number two, it will tell you based sa rainfall and temperature kung ano yung likely number of cases today, kasi delayed nga yung data ng DOH. And then finally, saan likely merong lamok. So if you wanted to take, let's say, mga fumigation, misting equipment, and go out into the city, you can get up to the street level and find out kung saan yung likely areas na may lamok. So this is what the prototype looks like now. Medyo na-improve na namin to over time. And we were actually pleasantly surprised na very intuitive siya, no? So on the left, ito you have two charts. One is the Google searches for anything related to dengue. And itong lower left-hand na graph tells you ano yung likely amount of cases based dun sa amount of rainfall and temperature happening today. And then itong sa kanan, nakikita mo, we can zoom up to street level. Saan yung mga likely mosquitoes, no? And in fact, I remember nung pinost namin to the first time sa internet, may mga nag-react, no, from Tacloban, from Iloilo, na ba't parang ang dami-daming lamok sa Tacloban? Totoo ba yan? Ganyan. And ang sagot ko lang dyan, kamusta yung dengue nyo dyan? Are you getting a lot of cases? And he said, yes, we have a lot of cases. Sabi ko, there's the relationship that's indicative already na potentially may halaga tong solution na to, no? So when we presented this sa De La Salle, we were very specific na it's a free portal. So it's not something that you should monetize. But ang target talaga is national and local health department. Kasi where we see this solution becoming useful is, let's say you have a limited amount of supplies, which is usually the case in the Philippines. Unahin mo yung areas where the tool is already indicating magkakaroon ng spike. So it's a good way to prioritize mga areas that need the dengue supplies, no? And at the same time, you can use the tool to also measure if you're effective in stopping the disease. Kasi the problem with the current setup, you're reliant on mga after the fact reports, no, na galing sa hospital and sa mga city and barangay health centers. Sila ang naglalag kung ilan ang dengue. And syempre, that's a very manual process. At least here, on top of that manual data, meron ka ng automated data that can give you an early confirmation kung bumaba o tumaas yung cases. Then at least it's a good way to measure yung progress ng dengue efforts. So yun, I think that's the gist of it. Ito yung mga research that we use. Syempre, when you do a hackathon, hindi naman yan ura-urada, no? Maganda rin if you do some research. So we were able to find existing papers, like itong paper ni Nakaro et al. Ginawa na nila yung dengue forecast using climate data in Visayas. So meron nang gumawa, pero sa climate lang, no? And I think they were using monthly data, not daily data. Ito namang paper ni Nayang, this was actually more of in Taiwan, no? They were able to track dengue using internet searches. So at least may inspiration na for us. And itong group ni Wilson Chua, they have that literature on satellite data, which we also used as part of the solution. So I want to thank the members of itong grupo na to. And you can search this on Facebook, yung Mosquito Real-Time Census Project. Ilang taon na to? It started with yung group ni Wilson. He was looking to stop dengue in Dagupan, no? Where where basically yung hometown niya. And they were successful in identifying yung mga barangays that have a lot of mosquito hotspots, no? So for the mosquito hotspot method, meron ng existing basis. And then dun sa other researchers, may basis na rin yung climate at may basis na rin yung Google searches. So what we did was, bakit hindi natin ipag-isa lahat to into one place? And the result is Project AEDES. No? So ito yung sinasabi ko na yung impact na fino-forecast namin. When we did a rough calculation, every day na you can get advanced warning on dengue, you can save 5 lives. Kasi at that time, 5 people a day were dying, no? If you get the ratio. And then sa number of cases, 1,000 cases a day. And we were talking about a delay of 2 to 3 months. Imagine nyo ilang tao ang kailangan munang mamatay before you find out na meron palang dengue in that location. So we feel that up to now, importante talaga yung health data gathering in the Philippines. It's still an ongoing issue. It's happening also with COVID-19, as you probably all realize. Kulang na kulang yung data natin. And the problem is government is forced to make decisions on incomplete data. So the more people who can come forward and help with not just the data gathering, pero yung data analysis, malaking bagay yung may tutulong niya. So that's kind of the gist. Kwento ko lang yung mga recent developments, no, since it's been a year. First, obviously, we got awarded by De La Salle. We're also getting a lot of support from that community, lalo na sa Animo Labs, no? Kaya sina Sir Dicky Gonzalez. And of course, si Mike, he's also quite prolific din sa De La Salle. So after October, mga ilang buwan din before we were announced as a global winner. I think the announcement came around mga February, early this year, no? And we were looking forward actually to flying to Kennedy Space Center. Kasi yun usually yung prize, no, for people who win. Pero naudlot because of COVID. So I don't know, hopefully pag medyo bumaba na yung COVID, we still can fly, maybe along with the other winners, no, of the more recent challenges. We're also exploring incubation. So sina Animo Labs have stepped forward to offer opportunities for funding and collaboration. So may mga parties na hinanap sila para kausapin namin. Of course, we're also in touch with DOST PSHERD at saka sa Philippine Space Agency. Kasi I think ngayon na we have a Philippine Space Agency headed by Director General Joel Marciano. si Dr. Marciano, importante na makultivate din yung space community. Not just people who are into rockets and satellites, but also people who can use the data coming from the satellites to help with social issues. No? In fact, tinur kami ni yan si Dr. Marciano, no, katabi namin, doon sa ASTI facility ng DOST sa may Diliman, no? And we were able to see ito yung command center nila sa Pedro project where they monitor the Diwata satellite natin and so many other satellites. I think at around about this time, I'm not sure kung kakasabog pa lang or pasabog pa lang si Taal Volcano. Parang kakasabog pa lang ni Taal Volcano. So, pinakita nila sa amin how they were monitoring yung ashfall, no, coming from Taal using satellite data. Ito yung ground station ng DOST. We also got interviewed by Tony Velasquez, no. Kasama din namin si Dr. Solidum, no, for Future Perfect. Basically just to spread the word na Filipinos are winning these challenges. At that time, wala pa si Project Gideon noong time na yun, no? But you see Nick Tobia was with us. He's definitely an active member of our group and collaborator. So, and I think the inspiration from for Gideon, some of it came from AEDES also. So it's really good na you share spread the word. Kasi you'll never know yung next potential winners. Makuha din nila yung ideas from people who came ahead. And maganda na ma-reuse yung yung mga skills, no, and the techniques. Actually, yung success with Project AEDES, if I might say so, was a big part in developing din yung ginagawa ng company namin, no. Because up until that time, we were doing basically data analytics services, pero really for commercial purposes. And ang nakita namin with the NASA space apps, malaki yung opportunity to bring all of this work into the social impact sector. So actually, it started in October when we made the NASA Space Apps Challenge. Yung success namin doon na kami na-inspire na starting then, we would focus solely on social impact work. So since then, ang dami na rin, no? Everywhere you look, there's an SDG na pwede mong ayusin. So ito yung 17 na sinasabi ko earlier na the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This was agreed by the United Nations. Lahat ng problema ng Pilipinas nandyan, no? From hunger, poverty, health, education. So, in other words, there's no shortage of problems to fix. There is a shortage of people who want to fix it kasi everyone's, I guess, too busy looking for a job. Isip ko lang, if lalo na sa mga younger people, those coming out of university, try to give the SDGs a look, no? Because we really need people who are willing to devote their talent for society. At hindi naman ibig sabihin nun, maghihirap ka if you help society. Medyo iba lang yung model, no, for you to work in this sector. So anyone who's interested, after this broadcast, please feel free to approach us. So just to show you what we've been doing for the past, year, apart from Project AEDES, we've been quite active in the COVID-19 space. We were part of the Corona Tracker na it's more of a global collaboration. Award din yan ng WHO. We've worked with the Mindanao Food Highway. Ang issue naman dyan, although not COVID per se, effect ng COVID is nagkakaroon ng food shortage. So we were using analytics to measure kung ano yung mga kung ano yung shortages, no, in the food supply chain. And then itong dalawang panels sa baba, this is our ongoing work with the Philippine Society of Public Health Physicians, using data analytics to measure not just yung COVID infection rate, but coming up with parang risk management indicators. Some areas ba high risk ang COVID? And it's not just because nagkaroon ng cases doon. It can be areas na maraming matanda, no? Because COVID affects the elderly. So definitely yung number of senior citizens in your area will be a measure of risk. Tsaka tinitingnan din dyan yung mga socio-economic indicators like mataas ba yung health spending sa lugar nyo? Kung hindi, then you're primarily vulnerable, no, to COVID. And I think you've seen Project Gideon in the last episode. So this is also an example, yung pinanalo ni na Nick and his group, they're continuing to work with the European Space Agency naman sa ESA to develop their solution. No? Ang point naman nila is how do you assess yung recovery ng mga countries from COVID. Kasi nga, actually, si COVID-19 is a problem, pero actually the bigger problem was the quarantines. Kasi di ba, nag-lockdown tayo and other countries. Yun talaga yung nakasira ng economy natin. So yung balancing yung economy and health, malaking bagay yun, no? And syempre, one of the solutions there is to get accurate data analytics so you know what you're doing. Ito yung current events. We're working with members of the mosquito projects, Wilson Chua and some epidemiologists. Since we're already working on COVID-19 with the PSPHP, baka pwedeng emerge yung ginagawa namin with COVID dun sa AEDES. So instead of coming up with risk indicators just for COVID, sama na natin yung dengue. And so this is an ongoing research project. We're also open to collaborators if people want to help us with this. Basically getting all the data related to socioeconomics, combining it with yung dengue data ng AEDES project. So yan yung, hopefully AEDES 2.0 will come out sometime 2021. No? And then we're also happy that we were, well, hindi pa formally announced to, but we're being considered by the Group on Earth Observations, or GEO, to be part of the EO for SDG consortium, no? So yung mga contributors yan, nakita nyo din sa baba. Ang ginagawa nitong grupo na to, they're really looking at sino ba yung mga groups who are using Earth observations, meaning satellite data, to solve for SDGs. So kami yon, obviously that's really our mission. So we're looking forward to collaborating with them. And malaking bagay talaga yung NASA Space Apps Challenge when to get us started. Kasi if not for that, we wouldn't know na may malaking mundo pala related to satellite data sa NASA, sa JAXA, sa ESA. Dami nilang data. Kulang yung tao to help analyze it for them. And syempre, they're all based in let's say, the United States, sa Japan, sa Europe. Hindi nila alam yung mga problems na nangyayari on the ground in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines. So that's the opportunity, I think, that's open to everyone. No? Tayo, alam natin yung mga problems natin. All it needs is for us to understand how satellite data can help and then come up with, itong mga solutions na to. In fact, we're very happy na since that period last year, sunod-sunod din people are starting to recognize our achievements. WHO has recognized our work sa Corona Tracker. We continue to be a big contributor to the Analytics Association of the Philippines. And of course, we've also started receiving some awards on the use of satellite data, the use of machine learning, IoT, even artificial intelligence to solve social problems. So I think it's really an untapped field, not just yung satellite data, but those willing to use it for social good. So I think yun yung if ever there's a message for people watching this broadcast, I think it's time that we started looking at social issues and bringing yung skills natin to bear against it. No? And in this, is not limited to people in the data sector. No? If you're a developer, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be an analyst, if you're a formal scientist or kahit na a citizen scientist, the field is wide open. No? Wala naman pipigil sa inyo. I think the question is if this is something that interests you, feel free to explore. No? And we're more than happy to also, in a way, give pointers kung nasa na kami. It's early days pa lang for us. Pero we're happy to support others who are willing to take the same steps. And plug ko lang ng konti, no? Since we had really good experience sa NASA Challenge, we're also helping others conduct their own challenges. So this is an ongoing initiative. We're working with the Asia Foundation and yung Bangsamoro government sa Mindanao to do a data challenge for them. Marami rin sila mga SDGs na gustong solusyonan like education, poverty, also health, and they're more than open to people who want to help them. So for people who are interested to give this a look, punta lang kayo sa barm.opendata.org.ph, no? And in a way, para siyang localized space apps challenge, no? And actually, Mike's part of it, no? He's part of the group that's managing this, no? And it's also funded by USAID. Okay, so yun lang, no? Those who want to have a look at our existing prototype, actually, it's publicly available. You can go to aedesproject.org. Also visit our website, CirroLytix.com, and also on Facebook and Twitter for updates. No? So, yun lang. No? Maraming salamat, David and Mike, no, for hearing us.
I was blown away by the project. Kasi parang sabi ko nga, our health system is really delayed. No? Yan ang number one problema. Kaya instead of being proactive, nagiging reactive talaga yung health system natin. No? Once na mag-react, it seems na it's a little bit late in the process.
Kailangan may
Even in
mag-panic
COVID, right?
muna, and that's what we were trying to get ahead of, no? And tapos yung siguro isa ring natutunan namin, alam mo yung there's this notion na kasi when we proposed yung internet searches, syempre yung unang objection ng mga tao, wala namang internet sa probinsya. Actually, that's a myth already. Wala sigurong masyadong maraming naka-laptop, pero maraming naka-mobile phone. No? Through the smartphone, people are connecting to the internet. And they're also searching for solutions on their phones. No?
Kasi totoo yan, even before you go to the hospital, people will immediately search and look for medical solutions or diagnosis online.
Oo. So I think it's time we started in a way giving more respect to everyone in the Philippines na, no? Obviously, it can still improve. Definitely, yung connections in some areas, spotty pa rin. Pero by and large, everyone in the Philippines is probably online, no? If not every day, so often. And we need to also find ways to help everyone. Kasi lahat connected na eh. So, wala, yun lang yung isip ko. Lalo na ngayon na work from home ang karamihan or naka-lockdown, malamang online yung mga yan, no? And I think we have to let go of that notion. Yung penetration natin sa Facebook, 100% nga eh. Of course, yung iba may mga double accounts, no? Tapos I think yung internet penetration, mga 70%, and that was back in 2017, according to PSA. So hindi na siya minority. Halos lahat na ng Pilipino online ngayon, more likely than not.
I was just wondering, I mean, what are the challenges for both space apps and you in developing the apps and encouraging people to actually participate and use these apps. Michael, sa anong mga challenges ba yung kinakaharap ng space apps sa Philippines ngayon?
Siguro yung number one is yung pagbigay value sa STEM tsaka sa space science. Space science is actually an emerging field, one of the emerging fields of technology ngayon, no? Kung saan ang ating ang maganda kasi ngayon kahit paano yung gobyerno natin nagkaroon din ng recognition dito sa no? Nakita nila rin yung value ng space technology by creating our own version of NASA. No, our
Pero
own
problema
space
pag
agency.
nagka-astronaut
Pero
tayo,
yun din,
nahihirapan pa kung anong itatawag. Kasi hindi pwedeng mahirap pag Philippine astronaut. Panot eh. Mapangit pakinggan. Joking aside, sige. Hindi ba? Kasi wala pa ako naririnig eh kung ano itatawag sa astronaut na Pinoy.
Pinot, mangyayari niyan. Pero actually, ang priority ngayon ng natin, ang ating bansa is yung tinatawag na downstream of data. Na kung saan na kinukuha natin yung mga impormasyon from these Earth observing satellites para makatulong sa to know more about our environment and even nature. Although yun nga, nananawagan pa rin ako na yun nga yung kinakaharap na problema ng community natin is the support from the government, especially for our winners. Itong unang-una sa lahat, ang ating winners, kagaya ng AEDES and Gideon, hindi lang ito winner lang sa loob ng ating bansa. Nirecognize ito ng NASA na isa sa mga pinakamalaking space agency sa buong mundo. Hindi lang NASA nagre-recognize sa ating mga winners, pati rin yung European Space Agency, Japan Aerospace and Exploration Agency, Kines ng France, tsaka ng Canadian Space Agency. Lahat-lahat sila nire-recognize ang angking galing ng ating kapwa Pilipino. Kaya nga nananawagan din ako sa ating pamahalaan na to give value naman sa ating mga Pinoy winners. Diba? Bigyan naman ng pansin, i-cultivate natin yung mga nagawa ng mga Pinoy dahil hindi lang ito kumbaga yung ginawa nila, hindi lang magbe-benefit sa kanilang sarili lang din. Ano? Kundi ito ay para sa atin at para sa bayan. Kagaya ng ginawa ng ating Project AEDES. Yung dengue na yun.
I think
Yes.
i-call out ko na Mike, no? We definitely need to invest more. No? And I'm not just talking about yung AEDES project, pero kung i-benchmark mo yung how much does the government spend on research and development? Usually, ang target dyan dapat 1% of GDP or something like that. No? And we're not naman at the low end, but we're not at 1%. No? We're definitely behind that. So it's a question of priorities. Talagang, syempre, sa lahat ng problema ng Pilipinas, in fact, may maririnig kang dyan, mga tao who are actually anti-research or anti-science. I think kailangan palitan natin yung attitude na yun. Kasi yung i-invest mo...
Kailangan para sa mga drug dependents, space up, gano'n.
Well, baka siguro,
mabilis ka agad, magkakaroon ng funding ka agad yun.
Yeah, I think yun lang, support. Tapos, I think, syempre, I come from the startup industry. Wala rin tayong support sa mga startups. Pero even in the science industry mismo, like yung the researchers in universities, people who are taking their masters and PhD, hirap na hirap din sila getting support for their own thesis, no? Pero actually, yung mga papers na napapublish ng mga Pinoy, umaabot yan hanggang sa mga international journals. So, it's not a lack of capability, I think. Hindi lang talaga ini-encourage. And then yun pa, parang pinagyayabang natin na we're no longer a low-income country. Kahit na medium income na raw tayo, kahit na, I don't know kung nararamdaman nyo yun. All the more, kailangan mag-invest na tayo in science and technology and startups. Kasi dyan lalabas yung innovation. Hindi yan manggagaling from the big companies, no? By nature, yung mga big companies. Malaki na sila so there's really nothing else for them to do. It will really come from the ground.
Doc, no? Ano ba yung root cause ng problema na ito? Na parang, since elementary ako, ito yung problema Parang, there's no regard or there's no focus on research and development, on sciences. Ano ba yung root cause ito? Wala bang pakialam talaga sa technology? Meron bang mga big companies na naglalabi para wag tayo mag-focus dito? Or kultura ba talaga yan na hindi interested ang government or kung sino man sa science?
I think, syempre, medyo mahirap sagutin yung root cause, no? But if there's one thing na natutunan ko from the Space Apps Challenge, kahit kami, nung sumali kami, we didn't expect to win. Ang goal lang talaga namin is makapag-submit lang, no? And the fact na nakaabot nga kami dun sa... Kasi you submit a proposal tapos i-assess ng local committee kung worth yung proposal mo for you to show up physically on dun sa event. So the fact na na-invite kami, sa amin okay na yun. Malaking bagay na okay, may interesado sa idea namin, whether we win or not, it doesn't matter. Parang it was enough to get the experience. And then finally, nanalo sa local. And then later, nanalo sa international. So for me, it was just an eye-opener na it's possible pala. No? So perhaps maybe that's one big, I think, blockage. I think I am generalizing. I don't know if people agree, but baka hindi rin tayo naniniwala na kaya natin. No? And by extension, the government doesn't believe it, kaya walang pera. But so hopefully by showing na, and we were just the second team to win. No? May nauna na sa amin, sina Ainon, no? And they came up with an app to transmit satellite data to fishermen, no? In the middle of the ocean without internet. Yung mga ganong concepts, creativity ng Filipino yan. That means we have the chops, no? And the skills to make it work, and nare-recognize siya. In other words, the fact na umabot siya sa global and it was awarded, these are world-class solutions. Hopefully that helps change the mindset natin. Actually, we're parang yung tanong mo kanina, and half jokingly na, parang hirap i-imagine na may Pinoy na astronaut. That's a mindset, I think, that we would probably all share, no? And it's because maybe we never thought na posible pala na magkaroon ng Filipino on the global stage. And then, if I can mention this, lalo na sa startups, napapansin ko, marami mga startups locally, they want to create solutions just for the Philippines. Parang gano'n, no? We want to make the Philippine version of whatever, Uber, or Philippine version of PayPal, parang ganyan. Samantalang pag pupunta ka sa Singapore or Malaysia, basically anywhere else in the world, they're creating solutions for the world, yung global solutions, like Grab. They didn't design Grab just for someone nag-start ng Grab, Indonesia or Malaysia. They designed Grab to compete with Uber globally. And then so on and so forth, no, yung mga ideas nila. So yun din, parang pansin ko lang, may tendency tayo sa Philippines na we only want to create solutions for our country. Siyempre, dami yung country natin, but maybe kailangan din natin isipin yung global population. And then more funding will come, no? Like when we were thinking of dengue, siyempre, Philippines is one of the highest dengue cases. Pero it's definitely big in Africa, it's big in Vietnam, it's big in Indonesia. Anywhere you go na may basically a tropical climate, tatamaan ng dengue yan. So, that's what we were thinking. Now, if we can prove it here, then we can go also to areas na who need it. And we're using naman global data like NASA. So, makakatulong siya. So, yun din, parang medyo mabagal, I would admit, it's taken a year, pero slowly but surely nagkakaroon na ng attention. And hopefully we get more support, not just for our app, but for all the other winning apps, no? Na Philippines pala is actually a good source of talent. Yun lang yung magandang kwento.
So yun, tanongin natin, Doc Ligot, anong future? How do you see Project AEDES in the next years to come?
Yeah. So right now, we're working actually to get another grant. Kasi we were hoping sana na yung NASA trip would be a venue for that. But since hindi pa siya matutuloy, we're hoping to get a few more grants to beef up the product. Like for example, yung ginawa naming prototype, ang coverage lang niya East, West, Visayas, tsaka ARM or BARM, no? But what about the other regions? So actually, we had help from the For the Women Foundation. Merong isang team, tinulungan kami. Ang ginawa nila, in-expand nila si AEDES to Calabarzon. So ilang regions pa, no? Maybe 10 more regions to go. So we want to beef that up. Second, syempre, yung data itself is one thing, but malaking bagay din is, okay, kung na-identify mo na kung nasan yung problema, what's the solution? And we were actually looking to partner with many organizations like WHO or the World Mosquito Program. Kasi you can treat an area na maraming lamok. May mga groundbreaking innovations na eh. Like I think there's at least two, no? One is parang a bacteria na pwede mong i-inoculate yung area ng isang kunyari stagnant water. Mangyayari doon, may one version, hindi na manganganak yung mga lamok. Pag naglanding sila doon, na-infect sila ng bacteria, it kills their offspring. Now, if that sounds a bit inhumane, merong second version na they can still spread, pero parang nanoneutralize yung some sort of a chemical or protein marker na hindi na nila masispread yung dengue virus. Mas okay yon, no? Pero syempre may cost na kaakibat yan, no? For us to deploy that. And then there was another one naman na more of DNA editing. Really high-tech stuff. May isang company who is promoting that kit. And basically what they do is they edit yung genome ng a set of mosquitoes. You let them go, and pag nag-mate sila dun sa mga existing mosquitoes doon, nanoneutralize na yung threat. So again, these are all interesting possibilities, pero yung starting point pa rin yan is madedetect mo ba kung saan yung area na maraming lamok para you can treat that area. So those are some things that we're looking at, syempre. It's still a work in progress. Tsaka yun din, parang ito I don't know kung nakakatuwa, but food for thought, no? Syempre, when you talk about startups and ideas, isipin mo palagi dyan yung business model. So, ano yung business model nyo, no? And in some cases, a business model doesn't really work. Kasi kunyari, how do you put a business model on dengue? Ano yan? You charge people, whether they live or die. Parang ang labo, di ba? So, syempre, yun yung medyo natututunan din namin ngayon, that there are other ways to conduct, in a way, quote-unquote business na hindi monetization ang habol mo. Lalo na dito, this is more of a public service, no? You're trying to protect people from getting sick. hindi dapat minomonetize yung mga bagay na yan. But somebody needs to pay the bill, no? So dyan tayo pupunta, whether it's the government or some international organization who want to help fix this problem.
How did the DOH, reacted to, do they know?
Okay.
About your...
To be very, I would say, civil about it, hindi nila priority yung dengue right now. I think is the best way to explain that. No? And in the grand scheme of solutions, mas matunog, at least for now, no, yung mga solutions that are on the ground talaga, like helping what happens in the hospitals, clinical solutions. No? Kasi itong mga to, yung mga katulad ng AEDES, these are more predictive solutions. You're trying to get ahead of the problem rather than treating the problem. I think it's just a mindset thing. Parang sabi nga nila, an ounce of prevention, di ba, is worth hundreds of pounds of cure, no? And
parang it's the same notion nung nagtatalo ka, ano bang kailangan mo ba ng gamot o kailangan mo ba ng mga nutrients nutrients sa katawan mo. Yung isa kasi preventive, yung isa parang gamot na talaga. And I think for myself, no, I would rather have na may mga ganitong tools para the health department could predict na magkakaroon dito sa lugar na to, let's act on it. Para you would prevent deaths, di ba? Not yung may namatay, 10 na yung namatay, ano nangyari diyan, saka pa lang kami kikilos. Para it would be a cycle of, alam mo yan, parang paulit-ulit na lang, di ba?
At saka, okay, I also want to be fair then. We have government agency in general, I'm generalizing, who are used to taking action, but not used to gathering information. So, kilos agad. Puro ganyan ang mantra. Kasi you want to solve it agad. Importante dyan, data . Kung hindi mo alam kung nasaan ang kalaban, paano mo susupuin ang kalaban? But it's a mindset thing. You have to think about, you have to be, in a way, para siyang sa strategy game, diba? Hindi naman pwedeng banat ka lang ng banat sa kalaban mo. Medyo may konting tactics ka.
Parang mga kalsada na patuloy na binabaha, pataas ng pataas yung
pataas for some reason. Actually, talking about kalsada, no, I don't know if you are aware, we are also exploring earlier the correlation of construction sites and dengue. Kasi apparently, pag gagawa ka ng highway or major road, meron drainage sa ilalim yan, no? And kung hindi nakakonect yung drainage dun sa, I guess, the city sewage system or whatever, nagpupool yung tubig sa ilalim. And pag nagpool yung tubig sa ilalim, dun yung lamok. So
there is such a thing as a sewage system.
So interestingly, syempre, it's still a work in progress also, but the more you build, the more you create dengue if you're not careful about it. So it's food for thought, no, na may may downside din pala yung napakadaming construction. And I know that's one of the mantras of the government, that we need to expand infrastructure. Kailangan lang tingnan yung health impact, no? We should not stop investing in infrastructure, pero medyo kailangan tingnan yung holistic impact niya. Kung kada highway mo, dengue breeding ground pala, like ang dami natin mga tulay-tulay na tinatayo ngayon, no? Tsaka mga kalsada. You have to think about the impact to the environment, no? So yan, marami pang problema kailangan ayusin. Obviously, it's you will never run out of SDGs, sabi nga.
So yun, it has been a very interesting discussion. For our final thoughts, Mike, invite people, how can we participate in future Space Apps Challenge, and how can people out there help you? Baka merong investor or tawag doon, angel funder na gustong tumulong sa mga apps ninyo? Michael?
Ayun. Number 1, nananawagan ako sa ating gobyerno tsaka sa ating bayan na suportahan natin ang ating mga winners kagaya ng Project AEDES tsaka Gideon. They created a very good app and they deserve the support that we can give to them. And sa mga gustong pang malaman, no, magkakaroon ulit tayo ng Global Hackathon for next year, October 2 to 3, 2021 na naman, no? Na-announce na ito ng NASA. So stay tuned sa ating social media accounts ng NASA Space Apps Philippines. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, tsaka LinkedIn and Tumblr. Okay? Watch out for the announcement sa mga gustong sumali. In fact, David, nagkaroon tayo ng hackathon nitong October 2 to 4, no? At saka magaganda yung mga ideas and solutions na na-present. Meron din tayong mga nakadevelop ng road hazard detection, machine learning to detect satellite imagery about the forest, tsaka yung plastic bottle mapping, no? So yan yung mga ilan pa lang sa mga nagawa nung itong nakarang hackathon. Kaya muli, ako ay nananawagan, no? Bigyan naman ng priority ang science and technology, mathematics and engineering. Ako, alam niyo, natatawa nga ako kasi alam niyo, within the past few years, naging priority natin yung infrastructure, no? Sa pagtatayo ng mga kalsada, yun ang maganda naman yun eh. Mga bridges, roads, buildings, maganda naman yun eh. Pero kung hahaluan natin ng katiwalian, parang talo ang bayan dyan. Kaya nga, dito sa research and development, tama si Doc, dito sa science and technology, lahat tayo panalo. No? Sino ba makakapag-isip na, once, isa sa mga pinaka-problema ng ating bayan is kalusugan. Maraming tao, maraming Pilipino, lalong-lalo na mga may hirap, nagkakasakit. Tuberculosis, pati dengue. Nakamamatay ito. Nakamamatay na sakit ito. Viral fever. Nakakamatay ito. Pero sino ba makakapag-isip na kaya pala yung gumamit ng satellite and climate data to address this epidemic, no? So sana bigyan natin ng pagkakataon tong mga Pinoy winning innovators to continue developing their work. Diba? Dalhin natin sila sa NASA to give recognition din. Yan ang aking apela din. Kaya nga, yan, nagpapasalamat ako sa inyo, David, no, for inviting us. At saka, yon, hopefully we see each other soon, no? Alam kong marami pa tayong mga talks na gagawin.
Thank you, Michael. Siyempre, marami pa talaga tayong pag-uusapan. We hope to partner with you through Aksyon Kalikasan and through the Green Party of the Philippines supporting apps like this that will, make the world better. Hindi lang the Philippines better, no? The world better. Sabi nga ni Doc Ligot, dapat ang forward thinking, global thinking na. So yan, Doc, invite people to or ask those who can support your app, and then invite people to the BARM app challenge.
Yeah, so for the 2020 BARM Data Challenge, punta lang tayo sa barm.opendata.org.ph, no? That's our landing page for entries. The challenge will take several months, no? So yung first screening will happen in November, and then yung finals will be in January. So lalo na ngayon na everyone's also going through online classes, baka gusto nyo tingin itong BARM Data Challenge as a way to not just compete but learn about various data. In fact, kasama yung satellite data dun sa BARM Data Challenge, mga satellite maps of the Bangsamoro region. Tulungan natin ang BARM, no, to figure out what to do with their area and how to help people with health, with education, with poverty, with good governance. Yan yung mga gusto nilang mga solutions. And then for those who want to get more information about Project AEDES, please go to aedesproject.org, or you can find us on Facebook, Facebook Project AEDES, and CirroLytix also. Please visit our company page on Facebook, and visit our website at CirroLytix.com. Okay, thank you.
Nakamute ako. Ito lang na pag wala kang technical at ikaw rin ang technical crew. Isa lang, kalimutan mo i-unmute ang sarili mo. Well, guys, for those who are interested to join the BARM Data Challenge, here's the link, barm.opendata.org.ph. And syempre, yung AEDES project, guys, ito, pa-flash natin sa screen. Ito, ang website ng AEDES project. Ayan. aedesproject.org. So para you can check out the project, and hopefully people who are really into social entrepreneurship, tawag ba dyan? You can help them out para alam mo yan, matry natin. The whole Philippines will have this data about dengue, and hopefully according to Doc Ligot, pati ata COVID, no? We are trying to merge the two pandemics together. This will really be very helpful para transition from reactive measures on health maging proactive measures ang mangyari. So yan guys, again, maraming salamat. Baka may gusto pang ihabol na i-plug bago tayo mag-end ng ating episode for today.
Ako, personally, I'm very proud of our winners. Hindi lang sila basta nanalo lang sa NASA or sa isang international competition. Alam mo yung maganda na nakita ko sa mga winners natin kagaya ng Project AEDES and Legion. They really wanted to help our country, our society and the world. Talagang kitang-kita ko sa kanila yung dedication talaga para tumulong sa ibang tao. Kitang-kita ko yung hard work. Kaya nga, alam niyo kung masusuportahan talaga natin itong mga projects na to, malaking tulong to para sa bayan, no? At saka, baka si Doc pwedeng i-discuss din bukod sa, ayan, na-discuss na yung Bangsamoro Data Challenge. Baka pwede mo rin i-discuss about Data Ethics PH naman.
Yeah, so we also have an ongoing and growing movement. It's a movement pa lang, but we call it Data Ethics PH or Data Ethics Philippines. We actually conduct a monthly podcast, no? And ang mission natin doon is number one, to drive awareness na ngayon na nasa fourth industrial revolution na tayo, kahit na di tayo aminado. Lumalabas na yung mga dangers related to data. Everything from disinformation, yung algorithms sa Facebook and Twitter that are manipulating us, yung algorithms na may bias, kunyari mga facial recognition applications that discriminate against minorities. And then all the way down to basic problems like lack of data, data quality, data poverty. And of course, yung top level niyan is always data privacy and security. So yan yung mga issues na tinatakal ng Data Ethics PH. We also provide coverage as far as we can find them for people who are using data for social good. No? So we recently interviewed si Mr. Wilson Chua, who's based in Singapore. He's very big on network analysis tsaka contact tracing. And then over the next few months, may mga lalabas din kami mga interviews with people. Actually, a lot of them are quite young, no? Mga millennials and in their 20s and early 30s who are already switching careers and using data for social good. So please visit our website on ethics.ph and on Facebook then, no? Go to Facebook, Ethics PH, Twitter, Ethics PH. We publish videos. In fact, yung kaninang video on Project AEDES, actually si Data Ethics ang gumawa nun. And we also cover the other Space App winners. So yun, no? Data Ethics PH.
And speaking of data, social media and everything, naalala ko lang to, no? And hindi ko alam kung napanood niyo ng dalawa, yung recent documentary sa Netflix talking about social media. It's called The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
Have you watched it? Have you guys watched it?
Oo, dalawa yan. The Great Hack at saka Social Dilemma sa Netflix.
I-share ko lang doon sa mga hindi pa nakakapanood. This is a very good documentary na I'm really, kasi mga former executives ng companies yung nagsasabi nito. So share ko lang sa kanila. This is the trailer for the, kasi I think this is connected to the data ethics, no?
When you go to Google and type in climate change is, you're going to see different results depending on where you live and the particular things that Google knows about your interests.
That's not by accident, that's a design technique. What I want people to know is that everything they're doing online is being watched, is being tracked. Every single action you take is carefully monitored and recorded.
A lot of people think Google's just a search box and Facebook's just a place to see what my friends are doing. What they don't realize is there's entire teams of engineers whose job is to use your psychology against you. I was the co-inventor of the Facebook like button.
I was the president of Pinterest.
Google, Twitter, Instagram.
There were meaningful changes happening around the world because of these platforms. I think we were naive about the flip side of that coin.
We get rewarded by hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value and we conflate it with truth.
A whole generation is more anxious, more depressed.
I always felt like fundamentally it was a force for good. I don't know if I feel that way anymore.
Facebook discovered that they were able to affect real world behavior and emotions without ever triggering the user's awareness. They are completely clueless.
Fake news spreads 6 times faster than true news. We're being bombarded with rumors.
If everyone's entitled to their own facts, there's really no need for people to come together. In fact, there's really no need for people to interact.
We have less control over who we are and what we really believe.
If you want to control the population of your country, there has never been a tool as effective as Facebook.
We built these things and we have a responsibility to change it. The intention could be, how do we make the world better? If technology creates mass chaos, loneliness, more polarization, more election hacking, more inability to focus on the real issues, we're toast.
This is checkmate on humanity.
Grabe. I think people don't realize just how manipulative social media is now, no? And anyway, magandang topic yan for another episode actually, no? Yung addiction on social media. Basta, actually, any addiction can be harmful, eh. And social media is an addiction for a lot of people.
Right now, they're not cracking on the QAnon parang theory. May mga disinformation na nangyayari talaga online. So, this also affects the reality of what's happening with the climate crisis, with the environment. So, talagang very timely issue talaga na magkaroon ng, alam mo yan, or data ethics for the good of humanity.
Yeah, gawin na natin yan. Yung next podcast, gawin natin together para pag-usapan natin yan.
So yan, maraming salamat. I am really honored. Sabi ko, anong invite ko through Sir Michael, sabi ko, magre-respond kaya itong mga ito, knowing that, alam mo na, AKTV is not like the big news network, the big blogs and everything, but we really want to impart environmental awareness and social awareness to everybody, to those that will the show will reach out. Kasi naka-save naman to, so anytime pwede mo i-share, pwede mo mapanood. So it's a long-term value. So yan, thank you once again and hope to work with you both in the future. I'm sure that this will not be the first and the last that we will be together.
Salamat, David.
Maraming salamat. It is an honor for to you both to be on the AKTV Presents on the two initial episodes of the season 5 of AKTV Presents. Maraming salamat.
Yeah, thank you very much.
See you again soon.
Talagang honor talaga sa amin to, no, na naumpisa ng bagong season tapos space up.
Saktong-sakto kasi kapag bukat ko nung Gmail ko, the email of the PR, sabi ko, instead of just posting on my blog, since wala pa naman akong guest sa AKTV, so I'll just invite them and then do an interview with these people. Kasi you blog about it, mga Pilipino man, hindi masyado rin nagbabasa, baka pa sa mga jargon. Diba? So let's do an interview and let people know ano bang ginagawa ng mga taong to.
Yeah.
So yan, maraming salamat and see you again. See you soon, guys. Maraming
see you
salamat.
Soon. Keep safe.
But keep safe as well and God bless. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next episode.
So within the next 2 weeks, after the third week after this, so magbabalik tayo para sa isa na naman Space Up Challenge. Kasi next week, we will be talking about gender development. And then on the first episode of November, we'll be talking about ano ba may epekto pag nanalo si Donald Trump o nanalo si Joe Biden sa US elections which we are hoping will be really peaceful. Kasi marami rin na nagsasabi na it might be different because Donald Trump might not accept defeat. So yan, daming uncertainty, no, with COVID rising in the US and everything, and then ito nga election, so daming uncertainty sa world. Let's just hope for the best. So maraming salamat. See you soon, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Philippines. My name is Sushmita.
I'm Sam.
Broadcasting live from Global TV Bollywood Studio, India.
Live from Global TV London Studio. You are watching Global TV Philippines.
I'm so excited to join you. Catch me soon on the Rapporteur News with
Isabel
Isabel Fernandez and Chino Hansel
Filiang.
Together, let's unite the universe with substance by bringing news you can trust. Until then,
see you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شامل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the lights of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.